Afghan President Ahmed Karzai joined NATO leaders to discuss military and civilian plans for his country, as NATO looks to end combat operations in Afghanistan. Mr. Karzai, NATO Secretary-General Anders Fogh Rasmussen, and United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon spoke at a joint news conference after the meeting.
Here in Lisbon, we have launched the process by which the Afghan people will once again become masters in their own house. Starting early next year, Afghan forces will begin taking the lead for security operations.
He said this will begin in certain districts, depending upon conditions on the ground, and gradually expand throughout the country. Mr. Karzai said he welcomed the gradual transition to Afghan-led security operations nationwide by the end of 2014. He also said, during the 3-hour meeting, leaders discussed Afghan concerns, including civilian casualties and detentions.
The world leaders present at today's meeting demonstrated a keen awareness of Afghanistan and of the realities there in our country. We also spoke there about the peace process and the need for the world leaders to back the peace process. And I'm glad to report to you now that on all the agendas that were common between us, I found voices of concord and agreement by the world leaders.
Speaking at a separate news conference at the close of the 2-day summit, U.S. President Barack Obama said it is hard to anticipate exactly what the U.S. role in Afghanistan will be 3 years from now.
I've made it clear that even as Americans transition and troop reductions will begin in July, we will also forge a long-term partnership with the Afghan people. And today, NATO has done the same. So this leaves no doubt that as Afghans stand up and take the lead, they will not be standing alone.
In a historic move Saturday, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev attended a meeting of NATO's 28 leaders. Speaking after a meeting of the NATO-Russia Council, NATO Chief Rasmussen says it is the start of a fundamentally new phase of NATO-Russian relations.
First and foremost, we will do more together to help Afghanistan. Russia will allow more NATO supplies through Russian territory to support our mission in Afghanistan. And now we will be able to bring equipment out as well.
He also said that the alliance and Russia agreed in writing that neither constituted a threat to the other. NATO extended an invitation to Russia to join a missile defense system that would protect Europe and the United States. But Mr. Medvedev did not immediately accept the offer, saying Moscow wanted to better understand what Russia's role would be.
We need to find out what our position will be, and naturally we should be guided by the fact that our participation ought to be absolutely equal, and we will stress it. It can only be partner-like. It's either going to be a full-fledged exchange of information, being responsible for certain problems, or we don't take part at all.
A joint statement issued by the NATO-Russia Council says they will discuss pursuing missile defense cooperation. On Friday, the first day of the summit, NATO members unanimously approved a new strategic concept that addresses threats such as cyber-terrorism and nuclear proliferation. The next NATO summit of this level will be held in the United States in 2012. Suzanne Presto, VOA News, Washington.